there folks, and welcome back to another speed paint video. This week I've got something I haven't done in a little while, which is a Neopets brush challenge with some Pokemon. So today I drew Absol, a very classic, very well-beloved Pokemon, in the style of 4 different Neopets paintbrushes. So without further ado, let's get into the speed paint. The first design we have is a very Neopets-specific design, which is the Mystery Island paintbrush. Now, Mystery Island is a location in Neopia that it's a tropical island with like some magical qualities and stuff. There's a specific fairy who's like in charge of the island as a whole. I don't remember very much about it, since it's, been ages since I've played Neopets, but I really like the aesthetic of the island pets. I love this like mid-tone warm yellow they use for a lot of the designs. The white markings are really cute. I love the color palette in general. It's just very fun. I think this just makes for a really cool brush, and it's so distinctly like Neopets, but very much in a specific segment of the world, There's something I really like about it. Like, all these designs are just super charming, and I just think they're very cute. So I thought it would be fun to convert Absol into this. I had to make some decisions about how I was going to color Absol, since most of the designs are predominantly that tannish yellow color, but some of them are actually predominantly white, so I modeled this pattern more after that, to more closely mimic Absol's original design. So Absol still has the white fur and the black accents as per normal, but instead of being black this time, it's got that kind of tannish color that the other Mystery Island Neopets have. It's also got a large amount of patterns to resemble the painted look of a lot of the Mystery Island Neopets, but in a lighter color so it doesn't really detract from the other accents as well. I gave it a dark underbelly to add a little bit of contrast. I gave it some cuffs on its rear leg to mimic the kind of cuff pattern you see on some of the actual Neopets. And I also made its mane around its neck kind of grassy, since that's an accent you see a lot in the Mystery Island Neopets. Lots of them have these little grassy accents, whether they be like a necklace or a lei or something like that. So I wanted to mimic that aesthetic, and I wanted the flowers to look like some of the flowers you see on some of these Neopets designs. So I thought that would just be really cute. I ended up with a posture similar to the Varwolf art, which, if you're not in the Neopet sphere, the Varwolf, I believe, is the newest Neopet they've added. I think it was originally a design that was like an April Fool's joke, and then 20 years later, bro is back, and it looks really cool. So I feel like Absol is definitely in the same vein of like Canine that's like cool and ominous, but also kind of cute. I feel like they feel like they would be friends to me. I had a lot of fun with this Absol design. I just really gotta do more of the Mystery Island brush for these Pokemon challenges, because it's a fun aesthetic to play with. It gives you a lot of flexibility. But the color palette it comes with is just really nice, and I gotta work with it more. It's a lot of fun. Next up, we have the Ghost paintbrush, and this one's a little more straightforward, even for people who aren't familiar with Neopets. Obviously, it's a ghost. The ghosts in Neopets have this very, like, teal color with, like, these ominous red eyes. A lot of them look so bloodshot, it is actually hysterical. Like, Ghost Chambi literally looks like you spilled acid in his eyes, and it's crazy. It's very fun. It's a very simple palette design, but it reads very clearly as something kind of unnatural. I feel like that's very heavily carried by those red eyes. A lot of them have like this sort of aura coming off of them to show that they're a little ghostly, and I really wanted to emphasize that and maybe like exaggerate it a little bit with this design, since obviously I have the freedom to come up with more original line art here than the actual Neopets do. So I gave it lots of like wispy forms to make it feel like it's not quite solid. I made the tail look like it's had a chunk taken out of it. I really wanted it to feel very floaty and spirit-like, and I just had a lot of fun with it. I also made the line art on most of it very light to give it that more ghostly quality, since I feel like, for one thing, I just have fun coloring line art, but for another thing, I feel like the fact that it looks like it's almost glowing adds to that, like, this isn't like a material thing aspect that a lot of these ghost Neopets have, so I just think that would be a lot of fun. And this one was a very simple design, but I still had a lot of fun with it. I had fun trying to incorporate the shapes and make it feel floaty. I had fun just working with this color palette, because I love a teal palette, and it was kind of fun figuring out like the balance of how the eyes were gonna look. And I'm pretty happy with it. Absol's natural eye color is red, but this is like very different looking to how Absol normally is, so I feel like it still looks like Absol, but fits in well with the Ghost Neopets. The next one's another pretty easy one for people who are into Neopets to understand. It's the Rainbow Paintbrush. And this one's pretty simple. It just makes the color on a Neopet just rainbow. They start with red on the head, go purple all the way at the tail, and it's just very fun. They're just so... It's so simple but very effective. I love this rainbow palette a lot, and I had quite a puzzle dealing with Absol in this. Since obviously, like, Absol has the main thing is, like, its coat is that white fur. But then it also has, like, the dark accents, so I was kind of trying to decide if those should also be rainbow, or, like... I ended up eventually deciding on making them, like, a dark indigo color, which is very similar to Absol's original design, but this is just way more saturated. And there's way more emphasis on, like, what hue it is, I feel like, rather than it being, like, a desaturated sort of dark blue that it is in the native design. The colors were just a lot of fun. I made sure to color the line art so it would be different at every chunk. Usually what I do when I have a rainbow design is I just go with, like, a dark purple line art. But I felt that it was important with the rainbow to emphasize with this brush, like, really make every color feel like its own distinct stripe. Each of the legs has its own different stripes too, because I thought that would be more visually interesting. And that's just how it is with a lot of the Neopets. Like, some of the ones that have 4 limbs, like, have different pairs. Like, each pair is a different color. So I thought I would do that, and I just had a lot of fun with this one. It was very, like, strange trying to decide how the value balance was going to look on this. It was a little bit of a challenge. But I'm very happy with it. I made the background as well, like this wonderful little gradient with lots of sparkly stars. I really wanted this to, like, scream 2000 Sparkle Dog as much as possible without actually going there, and I feel like it's there. You know, I'm very happy with it. It feels so of its era. The Rainbow Neopets in general just feel so of their time to me, like, not just the fact that they are rainbow, but the particular colors that are used that are so saturated, like, something about it to me feels very nostalgic, and it was very fun trying to interpret Absol in this very colorful light. The last brush is also something very color palette based, which is the Pastel paintbrush. The Pastel Neopets don't necessarily have like a unified color, like they're not all teal like the ghost ones are. Instead, they are just, well, in pastel colors, so I had a lot of freedom and a lot of possibilities I could go here. So I ended up landing on like a purple and yellow sort of thing, because those are complementary colors, and I thought it would look sufficiently different from the other ones I had drawn so far. And I just had a lot of fun with it. I made the mane another different color this time, again just for more visual interest. And I made the line art very light on this one, since that's a thing consistent that I noticed across all of the Pastel Neopets, is that they all have very light colored line art. So I wanted to carry that through with this Absol design. It's not quite as light as the actual Neopets line art for some of them, but I mean, some of the art does have the dark lines, so I think I'm fine with that. This was just such an interesting thing. All of them seem to have, like, a fairly consistent line art color across the whole thing, even if they have different colors on their design. Of course, this isn't like a universal thing, but that's why I used the purple lines for the whole design instead of making it different for each chunk. I also made the eyes like this nice pink, since I think that was a color I was seeing a lot when referencing the actual Pastel Neopets. This one's just an incredibly simple design, and weirdly enough, the thing that got me a little bit complicated was the background. Since I wanted it to, you know, visually be cohesive, I had a little bit of trouble deciding on the colors and things like that, so you might see a little bit of that. I don't know how much the time-lapse captures it, but honestly, the background might have given me the most trouble out of anything in this particular drawing. And I just think that's, like, really funny, because it's really just a bunch of trapezoids. But man, I had a lot of fun with this one. This one's really simple, but I thought the pose was fun, I thought it was cute. And Absol's just got a lot of satisfying shapes to draw, so even in a design that is predominantly just flat colors, I still had fun interpreting it in this art style, so it was still a lot of fun. And with that, that is all that I've got for you guys today, so thank you all so much for watching. Let me know which Absol was your favorite today. I think my personal favorite might be either Mystery Island or Rainbow, but I keep flip-flopping depending on my mood that I'm in, so we'll see which mood I'm in by the time the video actually comes out. If you have any other ideas for Pokemon you'd like to see with Neopets brushes, let me know in the comments below, by the way. I want to do more of these videos, I just gotta actually decide which Pokemon I'm gonna settle down and do, so if you have any suggestions, let me know. If you'd like to support me, I recommend checking out my Ko-fi page. Over there I have commissions, my shop full of wallpapers, emotes, and other things. I've also got monthly memberships there if you would like to support me consistently and help support making art my main living that I do. If you are interested in physical merch, I recommend checking out my Palm Street page. Over there I sell things like original paintings, stickers, charms, and more. And sometimes I host live stream events as well, so be sure to follow me on there if you just want to hang out for a live stream and get to see some paintings and ask me some questions about them and things like that. And with that, that is everything that I've got for you guys today. So thank you all again so much for watching this video. I'll see you all next week with another art video. And in the meantime, why don't you guys go out there and make some art?